Chapter 10 deals with individual loan risk. So we will essentially learn about different types of individual loans and different models of measuring credit risk associated with individual loans. This is the overall outline of today's lecture. First of all, managers need to manage the financial institution's loan portfolio to protect the overall financial institution from the failure of a single borrower. Indeed, the default of one major borrower can have a significant impact on the value and reputation of many financial institutions. If we take an example of the failure of HIH Insurance Group in Australia in 2001, it sent shockwaves through the insurance and investment community. The HIH collapse is Australia's largest corporate collapse till today. The two most other significant banking failures in Australia occurred during the 1990s are the failures of State Bank of Victoria and the State Bank of South Australia. Each of these banks owned by its respective state government. Similarly, a single major economic or natural event can cause losses to many financial institutions' loan portfolio through their impact on real GDP. Queensland floods led to a record level of business failures in Queensland, causing significant damage to infrastructure across the states in 2010-2011. An estimated 18,000 residential and commercial properties in Brisbane were damaged, and lost productivity was evident as Brisbane's CBD was closed by many days and work halted on commercial projects. Further, many domestic and international tourist cancellations led to a slowing of the tourism industry. The global financial crisis, popularly known as GFC in the late 2000s, resulted in the largest ever credit risk-related losses for US financial institutions. And the impact of these losses in the global financial markets remains in 2004, 7 years after the crisis commenced. So, by looking at all these examples, you understand that managing a financial institution's loan portfolio and estimating the credit risks associated with this portfolio and taking the position to hedge this credit risk position is pretty important for all financial institutions. Now, credit quality problems over the past 3 decades, the credit quality of many financial institutions' lending and investment decision has attracted a great deal of attention. In the 1980s, Australian banks encountered substantial problems with bank loans across a range of lending areas. Following the stock market crash in 1987, the late 1980s and early 1990s saw much of the large credit extended to so-called decade of great default, with substantial losses for many financial institutions. The more conservative credit strategies adopted after the losses in the 1980s were once again eased as financial institutions saw considerable profits to be made from aggressive lending re-emerging in property markets. Once more, inadequate credit policies saw the deterioration of credit standards that led to substantial problems arising in commercial real estate loan portfolios. Overly aggressive lending at the time had serious ramifications, including the collapse of some institutions, as I already gave examples, like the State Bank of Victoria. Few others are Melbourne-based Merchant Bank, Tricontinental Limited, and also Beneficial Finance Corporation, a finance company subsidiary of the State Bank of South Australia. Despite these failures, loan performance of Australian banks has been good by international standards, and while the proportion of non-performing loan increased from 2007 to 2011 with the economic slowdown resulting from GFC, they are still relatively low. So if you look at this figure where we have non-performing loan, in the left-hand side, non-performing loans means the loans, those are characterized by some type of default, for example, non-payment or the delays in payment, and this is the time period. And you can see that during the global financial crisis, the non-performing loan has increased for almost all the countries. However, compared to Australia, which is indicated by this dotted line, this black dotted line, you can see it is much lower compared to what was experienced by US, UK, and Eurozone. Australian banks' non-performing loans were less than 2% of all loans for the whole period. And this is you understand that is stark contrast in the US and UK and Eurozone, the non-performing loan extended, you can say, about average 6% to 8% during this period. So we see some recovery for, you can see, for UK and US after the global financial crisis. However, the non-performing loan remains high for Eurozone, and it's continued to deteriorate following the region's debt crisis, particularly in the corporate sector. So you understand that quality of the credits of the financial institution has been an issue in the last 2 decades particularly. So this is the end of our introductory discussion on this chapter. In the next video, we will talk about different types of loan, and in the video after, we will discuss different models of measuring credit risk. Thank you very much.